Tact is the ability to describe others as they see themselves. True patriotism is better than the wrong kind of piety. I never had a policy. I have just tried to do my very best each and every day. As our case is new, we must think and act anew. What kills a skunk is the publicity it gives itself. If once you forfeit the confidence of your fellow citizens, you can never regain their respect and esteem. Gold is good in its place. But loving, brave, patriotic men are better than gold. With the fearful strain that is on me night and day, if I did not laugh I should die. Common-looking people are the best in the world. That is the reason the Lord makes so many of them. To give victory to the right, not bloody bullets, but peaceful ballots only, are necessary. I hope to stand firm enough to not go backward, and yet not go forward fast enough to wreck the country's cause. Knavery and flattery are blood relations. The people know their rights, and they are never slow to assert and maintain them when they are invaded. With public sentiment, nothing can fail. Without it, nothing can succeed. Important principles may, and must, be inflexible. I care not much for a man's religion whose dog and cat are not the better for it. Don't interfere with anything in the Constitution. That must be maintained, for it is the only safeguard of our liberties. Stand with anybody that stands right, stand with him while he is right and part with him when he goes wrong. If there is anything that a man can do well, I say let him do it. Give him a chance. I don't know who my grandfather was. I am much more concerned to know what his grandson will be. When I hear a man preach, I like to see him act as if he were fighting bees. I am rather inclined to silence. If I were two-faced, would I be wearing this one? Never regret what you don't write. Books serve to show a man that those original thoughts of his aren't very new at all. There is another old poet whose name I do not now remember who said, "Truth is the daughter of time." The leading rule for the lawyer, as for the man of every calling, is diligence. If you think you can slander a woman into loving you, or a man into voting for you, try it till you are satisfied. I was born and have ever remained in the most humble walks of life. Don't swap horses in crossing a stream. Everybody likes a compliment. Everyone desires to live long, but no one would be old. Some single mind must be master, else there will be no agreement in anything. I have great respect for the semicolon. It is a mighty handy little fellow. I have talked with great men, and I do not see how they differ from others. Ballots are the rightful and peaceful successors to bullets. The point, the power to hurt, of all figures lies in the truthfulness of their application. I hold that while man exists, it is his duty to improve not only his own condition, but to assist in ameliorating mankind. Biographies, as generally written, are not only misleading but false. In most instances, they commemorate a lie and cheat posterity out of the truth. It is a great piece of folly to attempt to make anything out of my early life. I believe it is universally understood and acknowledged that all men will ever act correctly, unless they have a motive to do otherwise. I am naturally anti-slavery. If slavery is not wrong, nothing is wrong. I cannot remember when I did not so think and feel. The people will save their government, if the government itself will allow them. A private soldier has as much right to justice as a major general. Hold on with a bulldog grip, and chew and choke as much as possible. When you have got an elephant by the hind legs and he is trying to run away, it's best to let him run. I pass my life in preventing the storm from blowing down the tent, and I drive in the pegs as fast as they are pulled up. A capacity and taste for reading gives access to whatever has already been discovered by others. I can express all my views on the slavery question by quotations from Henry Clay. He who molds the public sentiment makes statutes and decisions possible or impossible to make. Nothing new here, except my marrying, which to me is a matter of profound wonder. I believe this government cannot endure permanently, half slave and half free. The people themselves, and not their servants, can safely reverse their own deliberate decisions. Republicans are for both the man and the dollar, but in case of conflict the man before the dollar. Never stir up litigation. A worse man can scarcely be found than one who does this. I am like a man so busy in letting rooms in one end of his house that he can't stop to put out the fire that is burning the other. I have always been an old-line Henry Clay Whig. I do not think I could myself be brought to support a man for office whom I knew to be an open enemy of, and scoffer at, religion. You cannot escape the responsibility of tomorrow by evading it today. You can fool all the people some of the time, and some of the people all the time, but you cannot fool all the people all the time. It has been my experience that folks who have no vices have very few virtues. No man has a good enough memory to be a successful liar. How many legs does a dog have if you call his tail a leg? 4. Saying that a tail is a leg doesn't make it a leg. Government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Most folks are as happy as they make up their minds to be. Be sure you put your feet in the right place, then stand firm. Character is like a tree and reputation like a shadow. The shadow is what we think of it. The tree is the real thing. I do the very best I know how, the very best I can. And I mean to keep on doing so until the end. Always bear in mind that your own resolution to succeed is more important than any other. My dream is of a place and a time where America will once again be seen as the last, best hope of Earth. Those who deny freedom to others deserve it not for themselves, and under the rule of a just God, cannot long retain it. I am a firm believer in the people. If given the truth, They can be depended upon to meet any national crisis. The great point is to bring them the real facts. My great concern is not whether you have failed, but whether you are content with your failure. I am not bound to win, but I am bound to be true. I am not bound to succeed, but I am bound to live by the light that I have. I must stand with anybody that stands right, and stand with him while he is right, and part with him when he goes wrong. The best way to get a bad law repealed is to enforce it strictly. Do I not destroy my enemies when I make them my friends? Marriage is neither heaven nor hell, it is simply purgatory. As I would not be a slave, so I would not be a master. This expresses my idea of democracy. That some achieve great success is proof to all that others can achieve it as well. No man is good enough to govern another man without the other's consent. With malice toward none, with charity for all, with firmness in the right, as God gives us to see the right, let us strive on to finish the work we are in, to bind up the nation's wounds. Avoid popularity if you would have peace. I remember my mother's prayers, and they have always followed me. They have clung to me all my life. The highest art is always the most religious, and the greatest artist is always a devout person. A woman is the only thing I am afraid of that I know will not hurt me. A house divided against itself cannot stand. The things I want to know are in books. My best friend is the man who'll get me a book I ain't read. Towering genius disdains a beaten path. It seeks regions hitherto unexplored. Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I will spend the first 4 sharpening the axe. The ballot is stronger than the bullet. The philosophy of the schoolroom in one generation will be the philosophy of government in the next. All that I am, or hope to be, I owe to my angel mother. I am a slow walker, but I never walk back. We the people are the rightful masters of both Congress and the courts. Not to overthrow the Constitution, but to overthrow the men who pervert the Constitution. When I do good I feel good, when I do bad I feel bad, and that's my religion. I like to see a man proud of the place in which he lives. I like to see a man live so that his place will be proud of him. Don't worry when you are not recognized, but strive to be worthy of recognition. I will prepare, and someday my chance will come. A friend is one who has the same enemies as you have. I have always found that mercy bears richer fruits than strict justice. The probability that we may fail in the struggle ought not to deter us from the support of a cause we believe to be just. He has a right to criticize who has a heart to help. You have to do your own growing no matter how tall your grandfather was. Let's have faith that right makes might. And in that faith let us, to the end, dare to do our duty as we understand it. If this is coffee, please bring me some tea. But if this is tea, please bring me some coffee. I do not think much of a man who is not wiser today than he was yesterday. No matter how much cats fight, there always seem to be plenty of kittens. If we could first know where we are, and whither we are tending, we could then better judge what to do, and how to do it. We should be too big to take offense and too noble to give it. Whenever I hear anyone arguing for slavery, I feel a strong impulse to see it tried on him personally. I want it said of me by those who knew me best, that I always plucked a thistle and planted a flower where I thought a flower would grow. This country, with its institutions, belongs to the people who inhabit it. Whenever they shall grow weary of the existing government, they can exercise their constitutional right of amending it, or exercise their revolutionary right to overthrow it. Every man is said to have his peculiar ambition. Whether it be true or not, I can say, for one, that I have no other so great as that of being truly esteemed of my fellow men, by rendering myself worthy of their esteem. How far I shall succeed in gratifying this ambition is yet to be developed. Labor is prior to, and independent of, capital. Capital is only the fruit of labor, and could never have existed if labor had not first existed. Labor is the superior of capital, and deserves much the higher consideration. Discourage litigation. Persuade your neighbors to compromise whenever you can. As a peacemaker, the lawyer has superior opportunity of being a good man. There will still be business enough. The shepherd drives the wolf from the sheep's throat, for which the sheep thanks the shepherd as his liberator, while the wolf denounces him for the same act as the destroyer of liberty. Plainly, the sheep and the wolf are not agreed upon a definition of liberty. The time comes upon every public man when it is best for him to keep his lips closed. We can succeed only by concert. It is not, can any of us imagine better, but, can we all do better? My parents were both born in Virginia, of undistinguished families, second families, perhaps I should say. If I like a thing, it just sticks after once reading it or hearing it. No policy that does not rest upon some philosophical public opinion can be permanently maintained. It has so happened in all ages of the world that some have labored, and others have, without labor, enjoyed a large proportion of the fruit. At what point then is the approach of danger to be expected? I answer, if it ever reach us, it must spring up amongst us. It cannot come from abroad. If destruction be our lot, we must ourselves be its author and finisher. As a nation of freemen, we must live through all time, or die by suicide.